During the summer of 2020, my wife and I concluded that we had to leave our home in Los Angeles, California. But the other families that we had become friends with all came to the same conclusion. We all had to go. Remember, just our regular Friday night congregations were against the law, and each family was having similar discussions based on their needs as to where they would potentially go. It felt eerily similar to what I imagined it was like living in Germany in 1932 or 1933. It was hard to comprehend that this was America. Going to church indoors was illegal. Going to the gym was still against the law. The schools were not reopening. Zoom school was here to stay. Vaccine mandates were coming. Homelessness was on the rise. Riots and looting continued across the county. The incoming DA in Los Angeles was promising to decriminalize all sorts of felonious behavior, including prostitution and theft under $999. And as I discussed in my previous video, I flat out refused to return to court as a volunteer judge. Not only was there no reason for us to stay, there was now every reason for us to go. So in the fall of 2020, my wife and I began our search. First, we looked at the map of the world. It was a mess. I truly didn't want to leave America, but we had to explore all options. Canada, the most milquetoast place imaginable, had fallen. Australia and New Zealand were gone. Most of Europe was a disaster. Central and South America, while possible, would not be the easiest transition for us. So being a diehard American, we decided to focus on the continental United States. Let's just get this out of the way. My wife hates the cold, and I love my wife. So we had to rule out wonderful places like Montana and the Dakotas, places in America that are just gorgeous. Too cold, my wife wasn't willing to live there. Even though both of us liked the prospect of being able to hunker down in the mountains and forests and ride out this craziness, the idea of living in the cold was just not an option for us. And assessing the map very quickly, the freest and mostly warm southern states were Texas, Arizona, Florida, and Tennessee. During our Friday night congregations, it was surreal hearing where our newfound friends were headed and why. In my heart of hearts, I was wishing that we could all migrate somewhere together. But everyone had their own respective concerns and geographic needs. One family went to Texas, one went to Utah, one moved to Tennessee, and another moved to Idaho. Two stayed in Los Angeles because of their respective employments, and we migrated to the great state of Florida. My mother, 80 years old at the time, had lived in Florida for decades, and A, if we moved there, we could better take care of her, and B, I figured it'd be nice to have her close to the grandkids. And that was the fall of 2020. We sold our homes, closed or relocated our businesses, and like Snake Plissken, we all fled Los Angeles and went our separate ways. Over my lifetime, I've had the privilege of traveling the world and experiencing wonderful places, and yet always thrilled to come home. I have always been consumed with a grand sense of pride to be an American citizen. I bleed red, white, and blue. I've lived in numerous cities across the country, but in my wildest imagination, I could not fathom ever feeling the need to flee an American state. Seeing the writing on the wall, after selling our home and putting our things in storage, in February 2021, we stuffed ourselves into the family SUV and fled California, driving the 2,700 miles to the Sunshine State. We were convinced that we weren't running away, but rather we were running to a safe harbor whereby we could join other freedom-loving patriots and collectively and peacefully work to restore what very much felt like a failing republic. In the next video, I'll explain what it was like arriving in southern Florida, still in the middle of the scandemic, in the winter of 2021. Until next time, hit that like button, leave a comment, join, and share. Remember, everyone wakes up at their own pace, and it's our job to help and educate as many people as possible. God bless America, God bless this podcast, and God bless you. Stay frosty, my friends.